Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Retro Reminisce. My name is Killjoy and I am joined by one drunk guy and one not so drunk guy. To my
Guess
right...
who?
Can you figure out the riddle?
The
to my
answer
right,
may surprise
Mr.
you.
Fruity Sammer. How's it going?
Not bad at all. I'm the one that's been drinking.
As per usual.
Pretty much, yeah, actually.
And to my other right, somebody who's not quite as drunk, Mr. Mark Kitchen. How's it going?
Oh, I'm good. Well, I'm not been drinking at all, so...
Completely sober.
Yeah.
For a first time ever on this podcast.
Not first time, but...
Close to
Not the
first time.
last
Close.
time.
Yeah.
As always, Retro Reminisce is a show where we talk about older games, what we think of them, what we like about them, what we don't like, and if they still hold up, and sort of those memories of when we first played them. So today we're going to be doing Street Fighter 2 Turbo, the classic fighting game in the Street Fighter series. Now, before we start, there are many versions of Street Fighter 2. We're doing 2 Turbo. That was the one I have on the SNES. That's the one I've personally played the most of, but I also have Super Street Fighter 2 on my Wii as well, but we chose to play this one because I think we wanted to play the SNES game, and it's more classic.
Yep.
So, without further ado, let's chuck it over to Mr. Fruity, just to confuse you there. When was the first time you ever played this game, or any of the Street Fighter 2 games?
Like, young... Probably like under
Young.
10, but like not like any serious amount. I never knew anyone that had a SNES growing up. So yeah, probably in like arcades, I guess. Is when I
Wow, you played
this
the arcade,
first.
did you? Damn, that's impressive.
Used to go in the arcades a lot. It's probably like that and like Virtual Fighter and stuff like that back in the day. Probably played it in the
I
arcade.
forgot that because where you live, like you would have had proper arcades, wouldn't you? Before they
Yeah,
get changed.
like
So.
being a seaside town, they got like loads of arcades.
Oh man, I would have loved that.
So yeah, I guess arcades were the first place I played this.
Awesome. That's actually really cool. Mr. Mark.
Various different places. Friends' houses. Yeah, like I played it on the arcade machine.
Yeah.
So,
you as well.
but,
Okay, I'm the only one who hasn't.
But in like working men's clubs.
Oh,
Like,
really?
My dad used to go and like drink with his friends, and I'd go along and just dick around on games in the corner and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the most peculiar memories I have of playing this at an early age is when I went to Spain with my family, and we met like some family there as well, and we hung out with them. And they had it in the lobby of the hotel we were staying in.
Nice.
And I was only 6 years old, but I remember like going back to my dad and getting another like coin. What was the coin? What was the like
Pesetas? No. Was it
currency
pesetas?
before the euro? I don't
Was it
even
pesetas
know.
in Spain?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Was that Portugal?
And I kept going back, and I just remember hassling him, like rinsing all his money because he just kept putting it in the machine. And I remember because there was this kid, the other family, there was this kid, and I was playing with him. And I remember one time that the machine was turned off. Like I don't know if they just didn't have them on that day. And I was like putting the money in, and the kid that I was with was like, "No, don't do it. It's not on." And I was like, "No, it will work." Desperate to play it. Like,
I don't want to be on holiday. I want to
Oh,
be
that's
back with
amazing. That's amazing.
So yeah, that's like a really early memory for me. I was like 6 years old. But yeah, all the rest of my memories are like playing at friends' houses, like various friends' houses. My next door neighbour had it in the corner of their dining room, and I like had a little like TV set up, tiny little TV. I also had this on my Game Boy as well. So,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But the Game Boy one isn't as good because you've only got 2 buttons.
Yeah.
So we were playing it on the SNES where you've got 3 punches and 3 kicks.
Yeah.
Whereas this is literally just A and B on the Game Boy. So it's just like you can't do any different types of punch or kick, so it's not as good. But yeah, many good memories. I got a lot of nostalgia throughout, like from a very young age and all the way up.
Yeah. It seems like you played it in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
So, unlike you guys, I never actually played this in the arcade. I may have had the opportunity when I was younger, but I don't think I ever did. My first memory of it was going around a friend's house, and he had the original Street Fighter 2 for the SNES, unlike the one we played tonight, and that was my first time I'd ever played it. And then when I got my SNES, we were given a copy of that copy that we played, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and me and my brother played the crap out of that, like like Mortal Kombat and all those kind of fighting games at the time. And yeah, I don't know what age I was, probably 8, 9, 10, something like that. Like I can't remember the exact age. But yeah, once we got the SNES, we were given a lot of games, and it was one of the games we played a lot of. A lot of Ryu versus Ken battles. So it's kind of my earliest memories. And yes, I'm going to be pronouncing it Ryu. That's how I've always pronounced it.
It's Ryu.
It's Ryu. It's Ryu, and it always will be. So yeah, no, it's a lot of early memories of playing that with my brother. Like a lot of games that we do on the show, but yeah, I remember fondly playing it because it was like any those sort of versus games. It's a good one to play when you've got like an older brother or a sibling to play those games with. So. All right, well, let's move over then. We've got throw back to you, Mr. Mark. Let's talk about things you like about this game.
I like the character roster. I think there's like a nice balance of interesting characters, all from different parts of the world.
Yeah, some of them are a little bit stereotypes, but it's kind of the.
It was kind of like not looked down upon. Then it was kind of like
of its time, isn't it, for sure?
Not looked down upon, but as in like. It was kind of just acceptable. People get away with it, I suppose. Like, I don't know. But I guess that's why they call it the World Warrior.
Yeah.
I just think like the fighting mechanics are really pretty good for like their time as well. You can do throws. You can do like there's multiple different special moves and jumping. And stuff, and I just don't really know many fighting games before this game, like that many like strong ones. Most of the other ones I think about came out a couple of years later or something, like Mortal Kombat. And
Mortal Kombat was after it, I think. I don't know the original Mortal Kombat, but.
And I love the music in this game. It's amazing. I don't think there's any stage where I don't like the music. There are ones that are more memorable than others, but I think like the music in all of it is good. I really like how colourful it is, like the graphic style.
It's a very bright game, isn't it? Like,
quite nice for its time again. I mean, obviously it's dated now, but
I don't know. There's a lot of 16-bit era games that don't that still kind of hold up, and I know this game we're playing it again for a SCART lead. There was going to be like a slight blurriness to it, but I think like the actual like sprites and the drawn animation are pretty crisp.
Yeah. I think it's a really fun game. I definitely preferred playing it on turbo mode though tonight.
I think when you play turbo and then you play like normal mode, you realise just like how much slower it was before turbo existed. So
turbo is an improvement. Like there aren't too many characters. Like there are a lot of characters in modern fighting games now. Whereas back then there was a limit. Like enough for there to be a good variety, but not too many. So I felt like I could get to know all the characters' moves quite quickly, even though you didn't have the internet back then, and so you just had to like look at the booklet or find out from a mate or something. But it's quite easy to just pick them up quite quickly. And and then so I pretty much know most of the moves for most of the characters. Whereas I find if I play a fighting game now, I'll be like, I don't know who to choose because there's like 30 characters.
Smash.
And then so I just choose one, and then I don't know how the hell to do that move. They've probably got like 20, 30 moves they can do, and it's like, well, if I knew all of them, I could get really good, but I don't know all of them. So. It makes it really easy to like just pick up and get into, and just even if you only learn one or two moves, a couple of characters or something, like, you can have a lot of fun. I just think it's a really fun multiplayer game. I had fun playing it earlier.
I think it's nice because the matches can be, if you turn the time off, right, forget about time and just play them, you can be as long as short as you want, depending on how aggressive or how silly you do in those matches, which is quite nice. So you get really close matches sometimes, and sometimes it's like, like there's a fireball coming out, then an uppercut, and you're like, oh god, who's going to win? And then I kind of like that, depending on who you play and the play style you have, changes it drastically.
Like having projectiles for some characters and sort of kind of more static moves for other characters.
Physical based moves,
you know what to go up against, kind of thing. Because you know the characters really well. Whereas if you play a fighting game where there's like tons of characters, you're like, well, the computer, the AI could just pull out anything against me and I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's easier to kind of hone your kind of the way you're going to go about it.
Strategy.
Strategy. I'm sure other things will come up. Covered a few things there.
Throw to Mr. Fruity. What do you like about this game?
It's pretty good. I don't know. It's a weird one for me. It's like I don't really have much like experience with the Street Fighter franchise at all.
Yeah.
It's like a series of games I never really played. So like, it's like that's a cool like SNES era fighting game. It's like playing.
It was on the Mega Drive as well.
Yeah, it's like playing the like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. But like, it's just like it's alright. It's one of those. It's like even like the presentation and like the music and stuff is like good, but it's never really like grabbed me.
Did you have fun playing like the 2-player mode and the single player mode?
Oh yeah, but I was just button bashing.
Yeah, but I mean like you could still have some fun with it.
Oh yeah. Like, I didn't say I enjoy it, but like for me it's very much like they're all quite the same for me fighting games. Like, I can play like 5-6 games in a row and then I'm bored now.
Sure.
I have like very low like threshold for like these games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed playing the single player where I just need everyone. With,
that was amazing.
Zangief Facet. Yeah, just jumping knee attack to everyone and managed to complete the story mode.
I was very impressed. Like, I think you confused the AI.
Yeah, probably.
It was like, what's going on?
Yeah, most of my experience is like more like 3D ones, like Tekken and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the PS1.
Later.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
It's hard for me to know what like the good and bad points of these games are.
Sure.
It's really interesting because I felt like this is a game that you couldn't really avoid growing up. Like I knew so many people that had it, and wherever I went, people were like playing. It would be in like a kind of rotation of games you'd play at someone's house, and then go to someone else's house and they'd have it, or I'd go in like a working men's club and it would be on an arcade and be like, I want to play that. And wherever I went, like I just played it so much, and it's just like the quintessential like fighting game for me, like the absolute classic fighting game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never really. I think it's because I didn't grow up with anyone with like Nintendo consoles until like the N64 and GameCube, and actually kind of knew people with like Nintendo. So it kind of just like skipped me. I definitely played more Mortal Kombat than I did Street Fighter.
Yeah.
So like, I was quite enjoying like the sprite art. Like the sprite art looks really like
quite crisp.
Yeah, it's crisp, but also like it looks like human. Like the flesh tones they've got, and like the design and scale of the characters gives it kind of like a real feel.
They've gone for that realism, even though you can tell it's not.
It's like less like fantasy. There is obviously
Yeah.
Hadoukens aren't really real.
No, but like the actual design looks, there's that look to it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird one for me. It's like, it was alright. That's kind of the gist of mine. Well,
that's fine because I've got a bit of a list here of things I can talk about.
You can tell I'm not the fighting games.
No. But I mean, if we did like Tekken or something, Tekken 2, you played a bit of that, haven't you? So
Eddie's finger.
So obviously, first things first, the music in this game. I mean, a lot of the tunes from this game are really famous. Obviously, Guile's theme has become a meme at this point.
Oh, I loved it when the Guile's theme was like massive as a meme.
It's so good.
Just so many videos.
Literally does go with everything.
So my favourite is still Freshman's of Bel-Air.
That dance
video is so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, personally, my personal favourites are Ryu's theme and Zangief's theme. Like, I love Zangief's theme.
I just remember the never really good Guys Who Goes Anything. When the guy's like drunk and he's trying to get the beer from the fridge, and he like he like keeps falling over. He's like trying to climb his way back up. It's like in the middle of like a shop. I just had a flashback to that video.
Oh
That's
my
so
God.
good. We need to find that.
We need to find that afterwards.
We need to find that after the podcast.
There are many good things. But yeah, like the music for Zangief's and Ryu's probably my favourite.
Zangief is very good.
Yeah, it's like how it's like a sort of techno-y Russian. I don't know what's going on with it, but it's like also like that stage as well. The design's sort of out the back of somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. But yeah, obviously a big thing. Music's really. I think all the tunes are memorable. Maybe not so much E Honda's theme because that's just kind of like it's got that traditional Japanese theme, but it doesn't really pop like the others do.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's the one where you're in like the bathtub one.
It's quite.
I remember the level. So
yeah,
you've got like the sumo ring.
Yeah,
on
quite
the floor.
Stereotypically East Asian music.
Yeah, it's not a bad track, but like it's not. I think the other tracks just really stand out, and even like Sagat stage where you fight with the statue in the background, like the Thailand one. I really like that.
Oh, that's
it's
a
really
good
good.
I like the blanket music as well.
Yeah, Brazil music, the kind of
Yeah.
like got that feel to it.
Yeah.
Like, I think they did a really good job of trying to, I know the stereotypes again, but like to try and give you those sort of different
What is
themes.
Blanco? Is he meant to be Brazilian?
I think he is actually a person originally, but he gets turned into a monster. So I think he's Brazilian.
There's a
Or
whole
he lives-
story behind
yeah.
each character.
And he
I was
lives,
trying to work out like where is he
I
from?
think he lives in the Amazon rainforest or something. Like there's some story to it, but
Okay.
obviously the graphics in this game, I still for a 16-bit game, are very nice. It's very easy to distinguish the characters in the background, and not at any point does it get confusing.
It's a nice amount of movement in the background as well.
Yeah, nothing
Like
too
the
off-putting,
era.
but you're right. Yeah, there's stuff that's going on. They're animated.
There's people like cheering you on. Like,
yeah, chucking money when you win.
Oh yeah, the win news ones. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool like that. Also, sort of some of the animation quality. Yeah, I think a lot of it in this game, for the most part, it's pretty clear what you're doing. Each move has a few frames, like when a punch is coming out, when a kick's coming
Yeah,
out.
that's true.
Like, it seems fairly decent. It's not perfect in every sense, but I do like the fact that, you know, if I throw out a heavy kick, a light kick, and a medium kick, I can usually tell by the speed and the what's going on per character. So I find that quite good.
You couldn't have that many frames in the sprite animations.
No, I think it's
a
like
SNES game.
5. I don't know how many it is,
Yeah,
but
probably it's not many. The memory
yeah,
too much.
I think that's why you get a little bit of slowdown at some points. But
Oh yeah.
different types of special moves per character. And what I mean by this is that, for example, if you play Ryu and you play Ken, their special moves are all done with like quarter circles. So you like quarter circle forward, and that's how you do an Hadouken, and then you do quarter circle backwards and do a kick. Whereas with like Guile, for example, you hold backwards and then hit forwards.
I always find them so awkward when you have to like hold a button and then do like the opposite direction.
Those can be a pain in the ass for sure. But
so hard.
at the same time, I quite like it. Like, for example, if you're playing Zangief, if you want to do a spinning move, you just mash two punch buttons or two kicks, and that does like his special. Or like he's got the hardest move to do, which is the spinning pile driver, which is do like a 360 on the pad as you're hitting up, hit a grab button to grab them. It's really difficult to pull off, but I like the fact that each character, they don't all have like, you know, it's not easy to just be like, oh, I know to play one character, I can play the other. It's like, no, you actually have to like learn.
To this day, I still don't know how to do the teleport for Dalsim. So.
It's like backwards, forwards or something. It's something weird. Like I've done it by accident, but never like managed to pull it off on purpose. Oddly enough, and obviously this is back in a time when you don't see many of these, but this game's only got one clone character, which is actually quite impressive.
Ken.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ryu can have different. Their moves act differently, but generally speaking, they are just clones of each other in this
Ken,
game.
when he throws, he rolls first.
Oh, you can do it with Ryu as well. There's two throw buttons. There's like medium kick and medium punch.
Oh, I thought Ryu just.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they can both do it. But like, even though they do play,
Too many versions of this game.
yeah, I know. It's like what? Later on, they differentiate the characters a lot more. Like Ken does a lot more kicks stuff, and his uppercuts become fiery, and then Ryu has a much more powerful.
Oh yeah, his uppercut wasn't fiery in this.
No, it isn't on this.
I'm used to seeing it do that.
Ryu also gets like his Shin Hadouken and stuff like that, so he gets the extra moves.
Shin Hadouken.
Yeah, Shin Ku Hadouken, sorry, which is like the super one where he charges it up and then fires
I
out.
thought you meant like a Hadouken came from his shin.
No.
It's like a low kick variant of like
And last two things, like I quite like the mini games in the single player. I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
just to
I
break
like
up
that,
the
yeah.
barrel one's confused.
The barrel one's so hard.
But the car and the bricks make sense.
They're very nostalgic to me, actually. Those parts.
Yeah,
like,
they're really
more,
memorable.
Like more, obviously the fight, the whole game is nostalgic for me, but just particularly like, smashing up the car and the bricks and stuff. They're just like, it's this cool little way to break it up.
Yeah, it's a cool way of just like, you know, a couple fights, then this, a couple fights, like a breather, isn't it?
It helps you test which of your moves are the strongest as well. Because I didn't finish the car, but I think it's because I was using like the fast but light punches. But when I did the brick wall with Ryu, I was doing that kick that starts like at the top and then
axe kicking it.
like that double kick thing he does. What did you say? Axe kick.
Axe kick. Yeah, you bring your foot down.
Yeah. So I just kept doing that, and I smashed the hell out of the wall, and I was like, oh.
Done.
Yeah,
easy.
that's way better.
Yeah. And then the last thing on here is like we talked about before, just character designs. Each character, I mean, obviously Ryu and Ken, the story between them is that they train under the same master. That's why they have like the gis on and things. But every other character kind of, they're very distinctive. If you pick like Zangief and then you pick Sagat, they're probably the two tallest characters, but you can tell there's a big difference. Like one's a Muay Thai fighter, one's a wrestler. They pick Dawson, and the whole thing is yoga. You can see that. Yeah, exactly. And like I like the fact like Balrog, you can see he's a boxer, obviously. And I like the fact that each character is meant to like represent a different fighting style, basically. So you've got like boxing and Muay Thai and karate. I'm not sure what Giles is meant to be, but that kind of different.
Croc Magar?
Possibly, yeah. I don't know. Like I never actually.
US military is
it's military training, yeah. So it's a close combat, but yeah, I do like the fact that when you pick a character, they have a very distinct look. You're never going to confuse one from the other with this roster anyway.
True, yeah.
So you go, oh, so and so's playing that. You might not know their name, but you will. Oh, I recognise him. That's the guy that can do this.
You kind of get a tell with how the opponent looks as to what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Not so much for like Dawson, but like most of the other ones you can kind of work out. Like Ehon is going to be fairly slow. Kind of the smaller characters are going to be faster.
Yeah. And you can kind of like, it's nice when you play against other people, you can kind of read their moves. Like when me and Mark were playing, if you start chucking out a load of punches, I knew that Hadouken was coming, or like, kicks are coming, I knew that. Like that.
I couldn't get the input in.
Tatsu's coming, yeah.
We kept doing the... Was it you were spinning at me and I was E Honda doing the...
Oh yeah, Blanca versus E Honda,
but
yeah.
mine comes out on top. My
yeah, so your move has got like your hitbox priority is higher than that. So I had to like think outside the box and actually like use the spin upwards or just block it and hit you and stuff. So
yeah,
but that's kind of cool, like learning those different sort of what works and what overpowers them as well. Because not all, you might think, oh, Hadouken beats everything, but then there might be something else that can go through it and stuff. So, but that's everything. All of my all the knees beat everything apparently. But that's all my pros to the game. Let's throw it back to Mr. Fruity. What didn't you like about this?
The only thing I didn't really like was just like the frame rate. It's kind of just like how much RAM they have.
Yeah.
There's the ones you can't really do much about it, but yeah, frame rate can be a bit annoying.
Yeah,
it's not.
But I don't know what the weird thing about it is.
I think this is a problem with the time.
Yeah, I wonder if with this though, you know how like sometimes you get up and you're stunned. I wonder if it's meant to like also act as a way of like being like, oh, you've knocked them down, and you can read that they're getting stunned when they get up. So you like when you get hit so many times, you get the birds or the stars around your head. I wonder if it's a way of being like, ugh, like it slows down, he falls down and then gets up slowly, and I wonder if it's to do with that.
But then it's like everything jars, like the background, everything.
No, I think it's obviously something to do with like memory and things. I mean, this is a port of an arcade game originally.
Yeah.
So it
seems to happen worse on different stages as well.
Yeah.
Different characters.
Depending on how much was going on, especially with the ones we have like the breakable the boxes and stuff. When you hit that, it goes and like really fucking trouble. It's like, oh god,
too much going on at once.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think there's much else. I don't think I know enough to really judge.
Sure.
Like, it all felt good. Button bashing works fairly well.
Had a good time.
Had some fun with that.
Yeah,
a couple of games I didn't even look at the screen and I did fairly okay.
What?
So you started beating me when you started learning that button bashing was the way
forward. I tried the first game and I was like, okay, I'm actually going to try and play this. Like, now it's button bashing.
You accidentally like grabbed me and all these accidental things. And I was just like,
oh wow, nice. I just why do anything else other than button bash?
Yeah.
No, I didn't button bash my way through the single player, so I just spammed one move over and over.
Just spammed one move for
broke
every
all
single
their
fight.
AIs so that the computer couldn't work out how to like
did so well
deal with it.
I can't believe you didn't lose one fight in that whole single player.
He did.
No, he didn't win like a best of 3.
No, it continues.
Right, continues. Sorry, I thought you meant like lost a round, but no, I see what you mean.
I meant he didn't use any continues.
Yeah.
It's Milky Bison.
Milky Bison, yeah. Take that, Milky Bison.
Did I lose a round to him?
I think so.
I think I might have lost one round.
Damn it. Damn the Milky Bison.
I like how this game is called Street Fighter, but most of the levels aren't set on the streets.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that.
One's in a bathhouse.
There's the Chun-Li one, which is set in the streets.
And I suppose Zangief's one kind of is at the back or somewhere.
Brazil's kind of a street, in like a fishing
It looks
town.
more like a boardwalk.
That's near enough to a street.
Like a bridge.
Yeah. Ryu uses set in a
castle. They have cars back then.
Yeah.
Giles is set at an airbase, isn't it? Ken's is set at a port, so yeah, you're right. They're not really.
Chun-Li's.
But Balrog's is set on a street because this is outside like a casino or something, but it's like outside on the street.
It's like a red carpet, isn't it?
Yeah. Still on the street.
Chun-Li's is a street.
Yeah, it's like an old Chinese like
background,
thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what about M. Bison's is. Like, there's definitely people in the background, but it looks
I
like a
don't know
temple.
what his is.
It's like a temple or something,
Don't
isn't it?
understand
Yeah, it's like a temple, I guess.
Sagat is just
The fucking statue in the background just
in
chilling.
the
Yeah.
countryside.
It's like-
Yeah. I think that's quite cool, though.
Yeah, I do like that stage. But,
Yeah, I don't have much problems to say, really.
no? Alright then.
I think I know enough about the genre to really
Yeah, fair
state.
enough. But it's like, oh, it's fun.
It was alright.
Yeah. Mr. Mark, what don't you like about this game?
There's nothing really any sort of fundamental that I don't like about the game. I guess it's a bit frustrating when you're trying to pull off a move and the kind of input is a bit like not smooth. Like
Yeah,
it's
sure.
It's not always friendly, but it's kind of just a technological
I
thing.
never had that problem.
Just for pulling out moves out your ass.
I think perhaps the game just wasn't designed for a SNES controller entirely.
Do you know what's weird? You say that because I
But
actually.
maybe I just need to get better at like my timing when I'm pressing each button and stuff.
Yeah, I find it easier when we played it tonight. I've got the 30th anniversary collection for Switch, and I've been really struggling to pull off super moves in all of the Street Fighter games on there. When we played it tonight, it felt like putting on an old pair of slippers. Like I was like, oh, I got the timing down. I could like constantly fire out fireballs,
Yeah.
but that might just be because I'm used to using a SNES controller to play it, and it's more like riding a bike. You never really do. You get rusty at it, but. Yeah, I didn't have. There were times when it wasn't throwing it out, but for the most part, I didn't have personally, I didn't have a problem with it. But I can understand what you're saying. Like, it's not a D-pad. Really, in the arcades, it's a joystick in it, which I tried to use. I do have one, but didn't succeed very well.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not doing everything perfectly.
It's just practice, isn't it? You get used to it.
Yeah.
You figure out the timing and stuff.
So other than that, which isn't really a very fair criticism, there's not really anything I don't like about it. Really,
No?
I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
Had some fun
Oh,
with
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to compare because there's just so many versions of this game.
Yeah, and each version improves
Like
on the last
obviously,
one.
like when we play like the newer versions of Street Fighter 2, it's obviously they've like improved
Yeah.
like everything.
I mean, that's it. Like, compared to obviously in this game, they give you the normal mode and the turbo mode.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever touch normal mode purely because it's just so slow.
Yeah.
Like, I only ever play turbo. But playing, if we played Super Street Fighter 2 tonight instead of this one, we would have. That game doesn't have the turbo mode in it. It's not until they made Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo when they re-added it in. So it's weird that you have this game with the turbo mode. The next one has more characters and new bits and bobs, but doesn't have the turbo mode. And then the final version has the turbo mode. So it's very weird, the development cycle on it. And then there's the Ultra Street Fighter 2, which came out on the Switch last year, which was like the most recent updated version of that game. With like extra characters and things. So I've got a couple things though I can talk about, like the cons, if you like, of this game. Obviously we talked about the slowdown. It's just kind of like the RAM or whatever's going on there. Definitely some of the hitboxes on some of the moves are a bit wonky. Like there are some grabs that Zangief was doing, which I felt like he was much further away. Some of the moves, like I don't always know what priority certain moves have, but sometimes you kind of got hit and you're just like, did I really get hit by that?
Sagat sticks his arm out, and then there's like about half a foot between his hand and your head, and it just it connects. Yeah. I know what you mean.
It's at the end of the day, like it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely can be against this AI. It's probably more frustrating. But yeah, some of the hitboxes just on some of the moves are just a little weird, and sometimes when you jump in the air and you both kind of hit. Sometimes you hit each other, sometimes you got another priority, I don't know. There's obviously some frame data going on there somewhere, but I just find that a little bit wonky sometimes. Certain moves, so that's a bit odd.
Yeah.
In the single player, there is definitely times when the AI is very cheap. Again, Sagat is the perfect example of this. If you let him stand in the corner, he'll just keep doing tigers, like high one, low one, high one, low one, and it can be very difficult to get close to him.
Jumping knee attack.
Yeah, but it doesn't always work.
Just for me.
But like, yeah, there's other times where like I'll be playing and it just feels like the AI suddenly like whacks out my health. Like every time I jump towards them, they always anti-air me, stuff like that. But that might just be that we were playing on a bit of a higher difficulty, and I wasn't used to that. I usually just play this game on the lowest. But there are a couple of times the AI is just a little bit cheap. So. And the last thing, and I know this is of its time, and this isn't something that comes into later, is it didn't occur to me this game doesn't have a training mode. The only fighting game that was on the SNES that I can think that has a training mode was Killer Instinct, and that came out in '98, I believe. So that was probably later.
Rise of the Robots.
It doesn't have a training mode.
I wouldn't expect it to.
That game's great. What are you talking about?
Why is that the root?
Oh, we'll get to that
It's
one.
a really terrible fighting game.
with the worst hitboxes I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, goody.
But yeah, but
It's just a my street.
you're gonna love it. You can button mash the shit out of that game.
Ah,
You
that's
love
okay
it.
then.
But yeah, it's weird. There's no training mode in this, but I think this was just of a time where you were literally just playing versus or single player, and single player was your practice mode. So it's not like a massive gripe with it. It's just something I picked up on when we were playing it earlier.
Yeah.
Because it would be nice for some of those characters to
I
play.
associate training modes with like later games.
Yeah,
and,
it's really
that
not.
era.
I'm not really deducting it from
Yeah.
it. I suppose Killer Instinct came out near the end of the life cycle of the SNES, and that game has a lot more modes and stuff anyway, and more characters and things. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
different
true.
company. But other than that, that is all of my criticism. So, do we think it holds up, Mr. Mark? What do you think?
I still think it's really fun to
Hell
play.
no. Okay.
Yeah.
After all that, Mark's
think,
like, nah, I hate it.
I think like the normal mode is like too slow now. Towards the end, because tonight I played the one player in normal mode,
Yeah.
and towards the end, the last couple of fights, I was like, this is getting a bit dull now. Like I want to play some faster matches. It kind of gets a bit not stressful, but a little bit frustrating because you're just slowly jumping through the.
Yeah, and it takes like the enemy can
but-
really like you can just watch it in slow, just getting hit like the
Yeah.
crap out of them, rather than matches being a little
I mean,
bit faster.
obviously, there's nowhere near as you can't really combo like you can in any modern fighting game.
In the later game, in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, you can,
okay,
but in the very last like
original,
iteration-
like
Yeah.
you can't. But I think this is still like a fun game. I had a lot of fun playing it tonight.
Yeah.
I think it's varied enough to have some kind of longevity to it. I imagine if we played it all night, we'd get pretty bored. But
yeah. Good like hour sesh, I reckon you can
yeah,
have fun
hour
with it.
or so. Yeah, it's good fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's good to go back to. It definitely holds up better than some other fighting games at the time. I think it holds up in many ways.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really compete with the level of technicality and combos and stuff that you can have in modern games.
course.
But I still think it's really fun, just arcade style game to play.
This is
Pick up
definitely if someone had never played fighting games, this would be like I would give this to someone and be like, this is like baby's first steps
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
it's a good way
No?
to get into fighting games.
Yeah.
It's the good like first.
Yeah.
It's like if someone said I've never played a Zelda game before, it'd be like, well,
Start with Zelda 2.
I'd be like, well, if you want to play 2D, then like
Link's Quest? Is
a,
it?
Link to the Past
to the
would
Past,
be like
yeah.
the kind
Yeah.
of
The starting point.
quintessential 2D one, and
Yeah.
Ocarina would be like the
Yeah, yeah.
quintessential 3D one or something.
Yeah.
This is like the quintessential like starting fighting game, I think.
Mr. Free.
Interesting you said this is baby's first like fight.
Do you not think?
Nah, I'm thinking Power Rangers on the Sega Mega Drive is.
Oh, that's no. The thing is, you say that like it's not a bad game, but when we played it, none of the controllers
Yeah.
worked.
So good.
So that's definitely a lot
I
simpler.
know all
Isn't
the
it?
moves for that. Oh, I spent so many hours playing that. So I'd rather just play that. Like, does this hold up? Yeah. It's the same as the last, like, 3 or 4 times I played Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, it's still Street Fighter 2.
It hasn't gone
I
downhill.
still have no idea what I'm doing. I
Well, you
know-
have discovered how to knee.
Yeah,
So
I know who the characters are. I think this is the first time I've ever played story mode, though. So that was a new experience. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'm not really a fighting game dude, so...
Yeah. That's, I know. If you hadn't guessed.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it holds up to me. Like I've
Yeah.
played.
Plot twist.
I know, right? I really like the game. Obviously, the hitbox problems can be a little bit annoying, but generally speaking, in terms of just playing versus mode, this is really fun. What we didn't do was you can actually make turbo mode even faster. There's a cheat to make it go up to 8 stars rather than 4. That is actually surprisingly fun. It completely breaks the game. You move so quick in it.
Isn't it a bit too manic?
If you wanted to experience it, we could do it. It's actually quite funny to do it. But I like the speed of this game. I also like the fact that when we played, we put the power all the way down on the stars because the matches can be over pretty quick. So I don't know what it's like to actually play it with full power stars on and stuff because you'd probably be over in like 2 or 3 hits, I imagine. But yeah, like I think it still looks nice. It still sounds nice. It still plays well. You know, dig it out, play it for a few hours and stuff. You know, it's just one of those games that I think will forever always be decent. you know, if you've got Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, play that one. You've got more characters, plus they updated the graphics a bit. That's the best version, or Ultra Street Fighter 2. But generally speaking, like,
there's just so many versions of these games. It's like every time it's like, oh yeah, it's a super Omega 40 billion Street Fighter 2 like version.
Well, you got to think.
It's never going to end, is it? It's going to be like new version of Street Fighter 2.
They're already milking it.
Yeah, they've milked it pretty much already. But
how many versions are there?
6, I think. So you got Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which is what we played, Super Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and then the most recent one, Ultra Street Fighter 2. Which
so confusing.
But also, there's also Street Fighter 2 Revival, which when they updated the sprites and released it on Xbox with new music and stuff, they made like HD sprites and things. So that I don't know if that counts as like a new version of it, or whether it's just that one of the older ones with updated sprites and new music. But they're not making any more apparently. That's what they've said. But yeah, like get a version of this game. Don't play the original. Don't play Championship. Play 2 Turbo and anything after that. I think those are the best versions of this game. But yeah, I think it absolutely holds up. I think it's a lot of fun, and I'll more than likely play this again in the future.
Yeah, I think we should play again sometime.
Yeah.
You two can play each other.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like I said, I've got the anniversary collection on the Switch, which means we can play all the different versions of it. Anyway, all 5 different versions.
Is Dan on that?
No, but he's on Street Fighter Alpha, so we can play that instead.
Oh, that's an Alpha. Oh, so confusing.
Alphas are different. It's like that's not the same. You've got Street Fighter.
Is that not a numbered series?
No, you got Street Fighter, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, 4 and 5, and
name them new games.
And then Street Fighter Alpha, which is Alpha 1, 2, and 3. So
it's like I thought Mega Man and like the X ones were more good.
No, they're different games though. They're different games.
Because that's like 2 separate.
Alpha
series.
doesn't look anything like 3 or 2, so it's fine. Alpha looks a bit like much younger, like cartoony drawn stuff. It's pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah, 3 looks more like sci-fi. There's a lot of sci-fi characters and stuff. You might like that one actually. So
I do like sci-fi.
yeah, right. There's some cool dudes in it. But anyway, that is our thoughts on Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Or Street
Hope
Fighter
we
2
have
in
been
general.
informative.
As always. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe and comment on whatever your thoughts are on it. Like, always good to hear some feedback. But until next time, it is goodbye from me, and it is goodbye from these two.
Ta-da then!
See ya!